Hi, everybody. Welcome to week number 2. A little more than halfway done with week number 2, so that's good. Sorry that this is so late coming out. I'm actually, there are 2 listed lectures for this week, the ILS and the OPAC. I'm actually going to combine them. It should be okay because it's okay. They're very integrated. They're actually kind of part of the same thing. So we'll be fine. But just, yeah, so everybody, hope everybody's doing okay. If you have any questions, again, let me know. There was some confusion. I had a couple of people ask me, so I'll just go over it briefly. So we're all kind of on the same page. But what is cataloging? What is a cataloger? That kind of a thing. So we'll talk about that as we go along today, what that person actually does, what that role is, just so everybody kind of understands that. But that's basically what we're going to be doing this semester is we're going to be learning how to catalog, which essentially makes you a cataloger for the ones doing it. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're talking about ILS, so integrated library systems. These are systems that allow they cover everything in the library, and they allow kind of everything to talk to each other within the library. So the first part of that, which we're going to talk about, is the OPAC. The OPAC is the front-facing part of the ILS. It is, if you think of, so our card catalog, right, that some of us have seen, some of us have not, where we used to go through the cards, that is essentially an OPAC. It's where you would go, you get all this information that was put online. They used to be standalone. That was all that was there was an OPAC. You used to walk into a library, there'd be a computer. When they migrated from cards to computers, there was just one computer there with an online OPAC. That's what the O stands for, online. And you would type in your book or your subject, author, whatever you needed, title, and your item would come up, write down the call number, go find the item. So that is the OPAC. Again, used to be separated. So then what kind of happened was, well, we're still have our OPACs, and then we could take our book to the circulation desk, for example, and we sign out the card to them, keep the card, they take the books. That's how we do this. So questions were asked, I'm assuming, from what I understand. Well, what do we do? How can we make this more integrated? How can we kind of have different things talking to each other, make it easier on the different systems? So then so kind of out of the OPAC grew an ILS, the integrated library system. So before I go further, I'm going to actually share my screen here. And we're going to look at Pasadena's OPAC. So this is, I don't know why that's there, but anyways, sorry. Okay, let's bring that up again. So if you're not familiar, I'm just going to Pasadena. Hopefully everybody knows what this is, academic support library. So this is PCC's, obviously Pasadena City College's library homepage. Right here is where you search for the OPAC. It's essentially their online catalog. So I'm just going to put in, I did this before and I did not spell it right, cataloging, very broad search. So this is, I think we did this before. This is everything that's come up, right? This is PCC's OPAC. This is where we would go to look for our materials, right? Our books, it's everything, again, library owns, it's the library catalog. It's what the library owns. Other word for it, OPAC, right? Online, what does OPAC stand for? My mind has completely blanked. So let's see, online public access catalog. Hello. So the OPAC is the online public access catalog. So this is what we're looking for now, right? This is everything that's been moved on. I mean, everything, you know, this again used to be in the card catalog. We now have it online. Again, online public access catalog. Hello. Um, and so this is, we have everything again. This is the OPAC for Pasadena City College. So we can come through here. We can scroll through here again. We have different limiters over here. We can say, you know, okay, I just want subject of libraries, for example, and I'll limit it just to libraries. So we can look through, we have our AACR2 here. Again, we have, this is our library catalog. You know, we can click on any of these, already in rare books. Again, we have, I know we looked at this last week, we have our title, our author, where it can be found. It's actually available online. It's an ebook. Specifically where it can be found, all that good stuff. All of our subjects here, our description, and then all this kind of other information about it. But again, this is our OPAC. Now, a question was asked, so I just want to make sure we all understand. Where does this information come from? That's what we're doing in this class. This is what a cataloger does, right? Is they have this book before them and they're going to take it and they're going to say, okay, what's the title? There's different fields for all this in the MARC record, which we will get to very soon. I believe next week we start talking about the MARC record. And so, you know, you put in the correct fields, right? For your title, your author, etc. You know, library trend, 2020, all that good stuff. So once you have your MARC record, the machine readable catalog, you're just going to create, that's what this is pulling from. That is what a cataloger does, is it's creating this information. Now, back in the old days, again, this was a standalone computer. You'd walk in, this is all would be on there, you'd look it up, life was good. However, we now have ILSs, integrated library systems, that make life in library world a lot easier. There's a whole bunch of different kinds out there. There are ones that are very, very expensive. There are ones that are totally free and open source. There are ones that are made just for school libraries, just for public libraries, just for academic libraries, just for special libraries. There are some that, you know, you can very customizable. You can make them work for anything. There's some just, okay, this really is only going to work for a school library. So just keep that in mind. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Pasadena City College uses one called Ex Libris. It's here. And it's, you know, it's up here, Ex Libris Discovery. Let's go ahead and do a search for that. We can see what that looks like. So here is the company, Ex Libris, the Ex Libris group. It's one of the two, there's been lots of different mergers and lots of different people buying out things and, you know, different groupings. Ex Libris and Innovative Interfaces are kind of the two big ones for academic libraries, for the ILS for academic libraries. They both do basically the same thing, right? They're both integrated library systems, everything to talk to each other. They're just different companies that kind of make them, and they obviously will do different things. And Ex Libris has different products. So here are all of their different ones. Discovery is the one for academic libraries. Alma is for like public libraries, kind of a thing, school libraries. But so let's go to Primo. And this is the one I'm just showing this to you. This is the one that Pasadena City College uses. So here it does a whole, if you come here, we'll just tell you a whole bunch of different stuff that it does. And so anyways, so this is the company that Pasadena City College uses. Now, probably doesn't matter. Let's back up. So I'm going to stop sharing. What basically an integrated library system is we have our front end, which is again the OPAC. That information is gathered from the cataloging module. So there's a bunch of different modules on the back end. The cataloging module is where the OPAC is taking all that information. So you would go and you put all of that in. Now we're using something called Library World, which is free. That's where we're going to be doing our cataloging this semester. So it's something that looks very similar to that. So that would be like the cataloging module that the OPAC is gathering from. Now, most ILS systems also have, they have usually tons of different modules or tons of different things you can buy and add and do different things too. But they will also have an acquisitions module, right? So you can track what I've ordered, you know, what books I've ordered, what magazines, all that good stuff. They come in, you accept them in the acquisitions module, they go then to the cataloging module, cataloger catalogs them, then it's seen by the OPAC, correct? Now, once, you know, the major difference, not major difference, but then the person looks in the OPAC, the patron, and says, hey, I want this book. They take it to the circulation desk. And now, you know, when you take your book to the circulation desk, they scan the book. That's another part of the ILS, right? Is the circulation part. So now they know who you are, that you're a patron by your library card. They now you've checked out this book, which is also reflected in the OPAC, right? Because when it says, like when you're on the OPAC and it says the book is checked out, or it will be returned on such and such a date, right? That is coming from the circulation module, right? It's an integrated library system. They also will have usually a module or a piece for lots of, you get lots, it depends on what you're doing, but lots of different things. Interlibrary loan is usually a piece of it now. So you can kind of track your interlibrary loans. Through that, you know where different things are. Generally, everything that you can think of, you probably get a module for. But the big ones that you're going to see are like acquisitions, cataloging, your OPAC, circulation. Those are the four big pieces of an integrated library system. Again, lots of different offerings, from free to crazy expensive and everything in between. The nice thing about these is, again, it makes your life so much easier because it's all in one place. Buy the item in the acquisitions module, comes to the cataloging module. Again, we're using what's called Library World, which is a free one that we're going to be using, that the cataloger catalogs the book, and then it's seen in the OPAC. Circulation normally takes over at that point, goes and shelves the book. And then when the book is meant to be checked out, the item to be checked out, taking a circulation desk, we now know who the patron is, who's checking out the book, when it's going to be due back, all that good stuff. So the integrated library system, just think of it as the whole entire product. It includes the OPAC as part of it, but it's just one piece of it. I hope that makes sense. Again, we're focusing on this class, on the cataloging piece of that. So that, again, is where the OPAC gets its information, would be from the cataloging piece of an ILS. But it's just a piece that fits into the larger puzzle, right? So keep that in mind. Most OPACs, I will say, are free. Actually, most, well, and there are probably some out there that, like not everybody can get to, but most libraries, with very few exception, you can go to their library, see what they have, see if it's a book that you're interested in. You can also, if you're part of different consortiums, different books are lended different ways. The best example of that is Ohio Link here in Ohio. Ohio is very big into libraries. It's where OCLC is. OCLC is something you're going to hear about a lot, because, especially in the cataloging world, because OCLC is what provides the copy catalog records to you. It is something you pay for, obviously, not obviously, but it's something you pay for. And what it is, it's an agreement with everybody that's used it, that any records that you catalog, your original catalog, you'll put it in there. And then once, library, let's say, usually again, Library of Congress, but let's say Library of Congress puts in the original record, then me cataloging at Pasadena City College can go pull that record down from OCLC, quickly fix it so it's reflective of our catalog, and then we just upload it into our catalog. But getting back to that, what I was going to say was, so that's OCLC. Again, it's in our readings. You're going to hear about it quite a bit. If you're interested in going into cataloging, or you're going into, maybe you're going to be the standalone librarian where you are doing cataloging, going out and finding the records. There's other ways of doing original cataloging that doesn't necessarily involve OCLC, where you're just going to go find the records on other people's OPACs. But nonetheless, that's what OCLC does for larger libraries. What I was going to say was that there's different consortiums that you can be a part of, where you're sharing information, you're sharing books. OhioLink is a really good example of that. The state of Ohio, every single library, with very few exceptions, there's a few, but not a lot, whether they're academic or public, not a lot of special libraries, most academic and public are part of, there's actually two different pieces now, but it doesn't really matter, but they're part of OhioLink. And basically, they share all of their books with each other. So there's a system that goes literally through the whole entire state of Ohio. And you can look at OhioLink, if you want to look it up, you can see literally every book that you can get. There's, if you look it up, there's two different parts to it. There's a public library one and now an academic library one, just because there's so many books. But the academic side and the public side can borrow from each other. There's no, it doesn't matter. They're very library friendly in Ohio. But that's a really good, good example of a consortium. They all share the same ILS and they all share the same OPAC in OhioLink. So you can literally go and you can look, and I can see what any of the libraries are holding in the state of Ohio. This is through, they use the innovative interface, which is an ILS system, III. This is a good example. They're going through a process in the state of Ohio, OhioLink, to see if there is another OPAC they're going to switch to, or another ILS system, other than innovative. This happens periodically with libraries. It can be done, on a 10-year basis, on a 20-year basis, but periodically libraries like to go through and see, do I have the best system to meet my needs? The answer, maybe yes. The answer, maybe no, right? I mean, it's the same thing. It could be anything. Like when you go out and you are looking for a new car, maybe, maybe you go and you're like, hey, I love my Honda Civic. This is the perfect car for me. I'm going to go buy another Honda Civic. I actually know somebody who for the past 40 years has only driven Honda Civics, because that's it. He looks, he periodically will reevaluate whenever he needs a new car, but he always comes back to the Civic. So you know what? Honda Civic meets your needs. Or maybe you go and you look and you're looking at cars and you're like, well, maybe a Toyota Camry might help me. Maybe that has a few more of what I'm looking for, a few more of the features I'm looking for that maybe a Honda Civic doesn't have. Same thing with an ILS. When you reevaluate, right? You're just looking at it to say, what modules do I have? How customizable is it? Will it work for my needs? Just like anything else. So keep that in mind. They are reviewed periodically. So yeah, take a look if you on all your free time. There's some great catalogs out there, and great ILS systems. Not great, but they're ILS systems. They are things for the most part you pay for. Again, there's some really good free ones as well. Keep that in mind if you're ever in a position where maybe funding is tight. It still might be a good idea to look at some of the free ones, because they can really help you out a lot. So basically, that's what ILS and OPACs are. Again, really quick recap. OPAC is part of an ILS. It is the front end that everybody searched for. ILS is generally talking about the whole entire system. There are different modules that you can do. Pretty much the standard ones are like acquisitions, cataloging, the OPAC, and circulation. Again, there are different ones, like you might have an ILL one, you might have like one again for consortiums you're in. If you happen to be in a large consortium, you may have one specifically for holds in your library as part of like an add-on. You may have one, what would be another, maybe for special collections, maybe specifically for something like that. But just keep that in mind. Again, acquisitions, cataloging, circulation, and then the OPAC are kind of what, then they all talk to each other. They all provide, so you can see in the OPAC, again, front facing, oh, this book is on order. This book has been cataloged. This book is checked out, right? They all feed into the OPAC, think of it that way, but they all talk to each other, and it's a way of just keeping track of all the materials in your library. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Again, this is the only lecture for this week. I kind of talked more than I wanted to. Sorry, I do that. Again, let me know if you have any questions on any of your homework or anything that's due this week. Again, everything is due on Sunday. Keep that in mind. If you ever see dates that are not Sunday, that is a mistake. I'm just telling you right now, let me know and I will get that fixed. Everything is due on Sunday. Again, see any weird Wednesdays or, my Wednesdays is going to be the day you're going to see. If you see any weird Wednesdays, again, let me know. I will fix that. Sundays is when everything is due. So this is kind of, we're kind of learning, I guess, from the front side of things this week. Kind of what the patron will see again next week. We kind of start delving in a little bit more on the back end, what actually cataloging is and what cataloging means. Again, a cataloger is the person who creates the record that you're going to see in the OPAC. And that is, again, what this class focuses on. We're slowly going into it. Once we get to it, you will know. Again, we're doing it in Library World. And there's a password for that. It's actually, you can find it. But when we get to that week and everything, and it's posted, I'll make sure you guys all have that. Let me know if you have any questions specifically about anything we're doing this week. ILSs or OPACs. And have a great week. Again, everything is due at Sunday at midnight. And have a great weekend and have a great week. And I will see everybody later. Bye.